feedback is your best friend. You need feedback from the people and the environment around you. You need perspective that comes from outside of yourself. And if you can learn how to see it, how to process it, and how to apply it, feedback can be one of the best and fastest ways you can grow in your life and your leadership. Welcome to the Matt Ware Show, a podcast for leaders who want more and won't settle for less. Straight talk to help you lead better, live bolder, and not lose yourself in the process. If you're serious about going to the next level in life and leadership, you're in the right place. Well, hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Matt Ware Show. But this is not just any other episode. This is the 20th episode in this iteration, this format of the show. And that's a big one in the podcast world because only 1% of podcasts make it to 20 episodes. So we're officially in the top 1%. And I just want to take a moment to celebrate that and really to highlight the fact that the only thing it takes to do that, the only thing it takes to get into the 1% is to just be consistent. That's all it takes. Endurance, perseverance, stick-to-itiveness, commitment, consistency, that's what it takes. It's not skill, it's not talent, it's not gifting, it's not resources. There's no special sauce, there's no, magic bullet. It's just plain old, boring, mundane, routine consistency. We talked about that a few episodes ago, that consistency beats intensity. And that consistency compounds, right? The longer you stick with it and put in the work and do it, even when the polish and the glamour and the allure have worn off, that's when you begin to see the impact and begin to experience the results. So I just want to take a moment to highlight that because I want to not just talk about these things, but actually demonstrate them. And so for those of you who have been on this journey with us, thank you for all the support, all the encouragement. And for those of you who are new to this community, I want to just say welcome to you. We're all about helping people grow personally and professionally. And on this show, we talk about things that will help us go to the next level in our life and in our leadership. So here we go into episode 20 and into a bright future to talk about all of these things. Today, what we're going to do is talk about something that I think really will help us go to that next level that we all want to be at, and that is feedback. Feedback. The last few episodes, we've been exploring this idea of how important it is to become more self-aware, because self-awareness, or really the lack thereof, is the number one problem for leaders. The problem is you don't know what you don't know. The problem is that you have blind spots, that there are things that you do or say or attitudes you carry or facial expressions you make or decision-making tendencies that are hurting you more than they're helping you. And the more you grow in this, the more you grow in your self-awareness, the better you are going to be. Period. Okay. Across the board in every area of life, in every area of leadership, self-awareness is the linchpin to your growth. But it can be very difficult, maybe even impossible, to become more self-aware on your own. You can't really become more aware of yourself by yourself. No matter how hard you try, you won't get any more information about what you look like unless you have a mirror to show you your reflection, right? And that's why you need feedback from other people to act as a mirror so you can see what you're really like. Now, last week, we talked about the fact that we have two different kinds of people in our lives. We've got critics and we've got challengers. Now, we have both of those influences, both of those voices, sometimes saying the same thing, but with very different motives, very different intentions. Okay, critics want to tear you down and challengers want to build you up. Critics want to hurt you and challengers want to help you. You have both of these things, but oftentimes we tend to dismiss the feedback from challengers because we've had such bad experiences with feedback from critics. And if you haven't watched or listened to those two episodes, it'd be really, really helpful for you to have that as kind of a foundation, a backdrop for what we're going to talk about today in this area of feedback. So stop this, go back and listen to or watch those, and then come back to this. Okay, here's what we have to understand. Feedback is all around us all the time. Every day, in every situation, in every conversation, we are getting feedback. People are giving us feedback. Our environment is giving us feedback. The market is giving us feedback. And if we reject it, we're going to stay stuck right where we're at. But if we receive it, feedback can become one of the greatest gifts to help us in our growth. Feedback is a massive catalyst to help us in our self-awareness because it gives us insight into how other people perceive us, how other people experience us. And we may never be able to figure that out or accurately assess that on our own. And so I want to point you to a resource that's incredibly helpful around this topic. It's a book called Thanks for the Feedback. This is probably in my top 10 or 20 books of all time for me. Really helped me so much to understand this concept and to shape how I view it. And the key probably is in the title. We actually have to have this perspective of being thankful for the feedback because we know that it's a huge unlock for our growth. In this episode, I'm not going to get into all the psychology and the neuroscience behind it. They do a really good job of unpacking that in the book. It's fascinating, it's challenging, it's thought-provoking. What I do want to do is simply highlight how important feedback really is for us and how we have to change our mindset around it. Okay, if we're going to grow personally and professionally, if we're going to level up in our lives, if we're going to level up in our leadership, if we're going to move, if we want upward, mobility in our work, if we want our relationships to improve, whatever context you want to apply this to, we actually need feedback. And an important point I want to make here as we kind of set the stage for it is that there is both a giver and a receiver side of feedback, right? There's someone who's giving it and there's someone who's taking it. And, depending on the context and the situation that we're in, we all are in both roles from time to time. What I'm going to talk about today is just the receiver side. Okay, this is the context of us hearing it and reading it and taking the feedback in so that we can grow, so we can improve, so we can become more self-aware. We will talk about how to give feedback, particularly in a leadership context, on another episode, another time. Okay, today's all about just receiving it. This is about how you take it, how you absorb it, and how you get better because of it. Like I mentioned a moment ago, feedback is literally everywhere, right? We just have to train ourselves to see it and to do something with it. Feedback could be as straightforward as your boss giving you a performance review or you getting a complaint from a direct report. It could be as subtle as a deep sigh from a team member in a meeting or an eye roll from your partner. When a customer comes to you one time but doesn't come back a second time, that might be feedback. When they leave you a Google review, whether positive or negative, that's feedback. Okay, when you get a good tip or a gift or a thank you note in the service industry, that's feedback. When a potential client ghosts you, that's feedback. When you start the new diet and you see the scale start to move, that's feedback. When you ask someone out and they say yes, or they act really nice in the moment, but they won't really commit to a day or a time to meet up, those are all forms of feedback. Okay, these are all clues. These are tells. These are bits of information. This is data that you can use to become more self-aware of how other people see you, what they think of you, and how they experience you. And what that means is that these are all opportunities for you to become more self-aware and for you to grow, okay? If you'll see it for what it is and if you're willing to learn from it. Ken Blanchard says that feedback is the breakfast of champions. But I see a lot of people, a lot of leaders who are desperately trying to skip eating their breakfast. They don't want the feedback. They don't want the input. They don't want the information coming to them that highlights where they need to get better. Okay, here's the unlock for people who really want to grow in life and in leadership. Will you learn to see feedback as helpful instead of hurtful? Will you learn to see feedback as something that makes you get better, even if it doesn't make you feel better? If feedback is the breakfast of champions, will you start eating your breakfast? Listen, grown-ups eat their breakfast. And I want to issue a call for us to be grown-ups when it comes to this topic of feedback. Right now, we're living in an overly sensitive society where everything triggers us, everything offends us, everything hurts our feelings. We take everything personally. We've been coddled, we've been conditioned that we should never have to hear anything we don't like or agree with or anything that might make us uncomfortable or challenges us too much. We're way too precious. And leaders are not immune to this. Leaders can be prone to insulate themselves and isolate themselves so that they don't have to hear the hard feedback they really need in order to grow and get better, because it might be painful. And so they want to deflect and defend and distance themselves from all of that. And in doing so, they destine themselves to stay stuck and stay stagnant, because ultimately lack of feedback leads to their failure. Listen, it's time for leaders to learn how to receive feedback without it crushing our souls. People who excel in life and in leadership have developed the emotional maturity and the mental stability and the personal fortitude to receive feedback from people they trust, to consider and process that feedback, and then to act on it, to adjust, to change whatever they need because of it, all without crumbling under the weight of it or having it destroy their sense of value and worth. That's what it means to be able to lead ourselves well. And I don't pretend for a second that that's easy, or that it's fun, or that it's quick, that that's a fast process. But for the vast majority of people, I know, this is not something that comes naturally. We're not born with the ability to do it. It's something that has to be learned. This is a hard-fought battle, right? But we do it because we know we're going to get better for it. And I think that's the goal, right? We want to get better. We want to grow. We want to level up. And so we know we have to have feedback to do it. Today, what I want to do is give you 3 perspectives that I believe great leaders have when it comes to feedback. Okay. The great leaders that I know, that I have seen, up close and personal, that I've studied from a distance, they do these things. They carry these things. They see things this way. And again, you don't flip a switch and just become this way. It does take time, and you have to grow through it, and you develop the maturity and the experience. But I want to put this all out here in the hopes that we begin moving this way. Okay, that we begin growing this way and changing our mindset to go this direction. 3 perspectives great leaders have on feedback. And really, these are progressive. This is a sequence. This is almost chronological. These build on each other. And number 1 is this: great leaders receive it, they don't reject it. Okay, when it comes to feedback, great leaders receive it, they don't reject it. The very best leaders receive feedback rather than rejecting it. They hear it. They read it. They think about it. They absorb it. They don't stiff arm it. They don't dismiss it. They don't discount it. They receive it. Doesn't mean they always agree with it. Doesn't mean that they don't have other information or see other perspective that might offset it or mitigate it. It just means that rather than write it off, they can receive it and sit with it rather than having it crush them. One of the telltale signs of a weak leader, an insecure leader, a leader who maybe is really struggling with imposter syndrome, is that they immediately discount and dismiss any feedback that doesn't feel good. They get defensive. They get angry. They blame shift. They make excuses. They avoid taking responsibility. They avoid ownership, right? It's the team's fault. It's the customer's fault. It's the bank's fault. It's the economy's fault. It's Trump's fault. It's God's fault, right? Okay, you've heard people talk like this. Maybe you've talked like this, or you've thought this way. Okay, and I've mentioned this before. One of the great questions you can ask yourself is, what is it about my leadership that contributed to this result? What is it about my leadership that contributed to this result? When you can ask and answer that question honestly, that's how you know you're growing as a leader. Okay, so this first step of really being able to receive feedback, it comes down to this statement: I can take it. I can take it. I may not like it. It may not feel good, but I can take it. Great leaders receive feedback. They don't reject it. Okay, number 2, great leaders ask for it. They don't avoid it. Great leaders ask for feedback. They don't avoid it. Step 1 is I'm not going to reject it, right? If it comes to me, I'll receive it. I'll pay attention to it. Okay, but that's still a passive stance. I'm not out there looking for it, but if it comes, I can take it. Okay, the next step great leaders take is that they actually ask for the feedback rather than avoiding it. They know it might sting. They know it might bruise their ego a little. They know it may not feel good in the moment, but they also know that they need it. So rather than waiting passively for the feedback to come to them and kind of wincing for it, white knuckling their way through it, they actively ask for it. They seek it out. They go looking for it. Tell me what you think. How did that land? How did that feel when I said that? What would have made this presentation clearer? What are you seeing that would make you more bought in? What do you think would make things better around here? They solicit this kind of input. They're actively asking for feedback. Now, this is really important. Do not ask the people around you for feedback if the only thing you want is affirmation. Okay, if all you want is a pat on the back and an attaboy, good job, buddy, then don't bother asking, okay? Because people can sense that, especially if you're in a leadership role in some way for them, if they know you're a little bit thin-skinned, and they really won't tell you the truth unless you want it, and you have to demonstrate that you want it, okay? The longer you are in leadership and the higher level of your leadership, the harder it is to get people to tell you the truth. And the reason why is because they want to please you. They want to impress you. They want you to like them. They want your favor. It's why you have to go out of your way to ask for their feedback and then to appreciate them when they give it, no matter how hard it is to hear. If you don't ask for it and you don't appreciate it when it comes, you will not get good feedback from your team. Do not punish people in your organization for telling you the truth, no matter how hard it is to hear. And if you're in a leadership role, you need to create a culture with your people that encourages them to tell you the truth, even if it's a really ugly truth. You need them to tell you what's not working. You need them to tell you when they see danger ahead. You need them to tell you, you're going to sink this ship if you do this, and then not throw them overboard because they said it. Great leaders actively ask for feedback because they know they don't know everything. They know other people can see things and sense things that they don't. And they know they need to know what everyone else knows. And so that's really what it comes down to, is this statement that I need it. Okay, it's not fun, it's not pretty, it doesn't feel good, but I need it. I know I need it. Great leaders receive feedback rather than rejecting it. They ask for it rather than avoiding it. And number 3, they crave it. They don't cave under it. They crave feedback. They don't cave under feedback. Okay, so the first one is passive, right? They receive it. Not out looking for it, but key statement, I can take it. The next one is active. I ask for it rather than avoid it. And the key statement there is I need it. But this last one, and I think this is kind of what, separates the men from the boys, is that I don't just receive it. I don't just ask for it, I crave it. I crave feedback. I've got to have it. I actually want it. I want to hear the feedback. I want to know how this is hitting. I want to know how it's landing, how it's resonating, how it's working. In fact, I want it so badly that I actually depend on it for my leadership. I see feedback as a gauge. It's a navigational tool on the dashboard and how this organization is doing and how I'm doing. And if I don't have that, if I don't get that input, if I don't have that data, I feel lost. I feel like I'm flying blind. Okay, without feedback, I'm left to my own devices, and I know there's so many things I don't know. And so I actually feel uncomfortable when I don't get feedback. I feel uncomfortable when people aren't talking to me. Okay, that's the perspective of a great leader when they're at this stage. Okay, and so you can see how this progression works, how these things, they move up the ladder. It begins to escalate. You chronologically move along this path. A less experienced, less secure leader is uncomfortable when they do get feedback, but a wiser, more mature leader is uncomfortable when they don't. An insecure leader caves under feedback, but a secure leader craves feedback because they know it's a critical component that will help them grow and will make them better. And the word I use for this one is aggressive. Okay, you go from passive, I can take it, to active, I need it, to aggressive, I want it. And really, I think that's where all of us need to get. That's the direction that we need to grow in how we see feedback, because that's ultimately what's going to position us to get the most out of it, to grow the most from it, and like the book says, to actually be thankful for it, to carry gratitude for this feedback that we're getting. And again, I don't pretend that this is fast, this is easy, that we're just, wake up one day and we're born like that, or we flip a switch. It's a process, but this is where we've got to get. And, I said it in the intro, but I'll say it again. Feedback is your best friend if you can learn to hear it and receive it and act on it. It really can be the thing that opens your eyes to what you couldn't see before and helps you grow in your self-awareness in really significant ways. But you can't be soft. You can't be insecure. You can't be precious. All right, you've got to receive the feedback rather than reject it. You've got to ask for it rather than avoid it. And you've got to crave it rather than cave under it. That's how you'll know you really are growing and maturing in your life and your leadership. And I promise you, if you are doing that, you are getting better. You are eating your breakfast. All right, I hope this has helped you. I hope it's challenged you. I hope it's actually made you a little bit uncomfortable, maybe even exposed you or revealed you a little bit. Okay, that's my job. And I promise I'm right there with you on this. I'm not just stepping on your toes. I'm stepping on my own toes because I need to keep growing in how I receive feedback and ask for feedback and crave feedback. This is an ongoing process of maturing in our lives and in our leadership. But I'm glad to have you with me today, and I'm glad we're on that journey together. I'd love it if you would share this and get more people on the journey with us as well. So share it with somebody you know who would benefit from it. And of course, like it and subscribe it as well, rate it, review it, drop a comment, all the things that help more people find us. You can find me at themattware.com and at themattware on all the socials. Until next time, get out there, get aggressive when it comes to this topic of feedback, okay? Receive it, ask for it, crave it, okay? Because you know you have to have it, you know that you need it, so take on this position where you actually want it. Get aggressive in your stance because you know what it's going to produce in your life. It's going to help you do what we always say to do at the end of the show, which is to go lead better and go live bolder.